Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here. Sorry, I've been having some issues with the sound. They said it's been a little bit quiet and things like that. It might be partially because I've been using a chipper for the last few days and my hearing's not going as good as I think and so on. But hopefully this has it correct. If it's not loud enough, let me know. But there's a point where if you go too high and I get too excited, it gives you and we don't want the because that's not good. So hopefully this is loud enough that you guys don't have to put on headphones to hear me. You know, Dak Prescott sucks. Dak Prescott, he shouldn't get paid. He's overpaid right now. Cowboys should offer him maybe $15 million. I mean, he did lose to Teddy Bridgewater. And Jerry Jones said that, the poor play that he's having isn't going to change what negotiations were going on for his contract. It's nice that the Dallas Cowboys are doing charity for Dak Prescott because, Dak Prescott would be, if it weren't for the Cowboys employing him, we know no other team in the NFL would want Dak Prescott. He would probably be flipping burgers, as some of you haters out there have said, that he'll be flipping burgers in 2 years. It's nice that the Dallas Cowboys are being so generous and allowing him to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys because clearly Dak Prescott is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Clearly. I mean, the last couple of games, he plays great against poor teams, and he plays like complete crap, against the good teams. He's not like some of the other quarterbacks, like Carson Wentz, who's lighting it up. Carson Wentz, who always plays well against great competition, Dak lost to Teddy Bridgewater, although I didn't know Teddy Bridgewater played defense. But Dak lost to Teddy Bridgewater. As Shannon Sharp said, he's not the guy who can put the team on his back and carry him like Aaron Rodgers. It was kind of funny. Today I heard something from Skip and Shannon Sharp. Shannon said about Aaron Rodgers that Aaron Rodgers completely outplayed Dak Prescott, but it wasn't through the air. It was realizing what they had with the running game and stayed out the way. And then they talked about Tom Brady, who they said, he relied on the defense and things like that. He picked his spots. They even talked about Peyton Manning, who his first year in the Super Bowl with Denver and stuff, was lighting it up and things like that. But he realized that he just needed to be a game manager the second one, and they ended up winning one. But let me play this clip real quick. I know I shouldn't listen to the talking heads because it'll give you brain damage, but, they let you know that Dak Prescott is the worst quarterback in the NFL. That things that happened to Dak happened to nobody else out there. That literally everybody, and I mean every single quarterback, is head and shoulders above Dak Prescott.
Famer Chris Carter, this is Nick Wright. If you are celebrating the Jewish holiday, happy Yom Kippur to you. We made it halfway through the week, and we got some big storylines in the NFL to discuss. Aaron Rodgers says he's finally having fun again. There's a Super Bowl quarterback who's got some harsh words for Baker Mayfield, but we're going to start today's program out in Dallas, where the team that many had as Super Bowl contenders have since come back down to earth. The Cowboys, starting this season 3-0, have since lost back-to-back games. One of the reasons, the play of Dak Prescott, whose numbers have definitely declined every game so far this season. Here's what Jerry Jones had to say when asked if these past few weeks have impacted negotiations with Dak.
The narrative about his financial as opposed to how he's playing is frankly laughable. It's just not that way.
Right.
It's too much on both ends of that for the team. It's too much for Dak to
Okay.
equate his performance stats or one loss here these first 2 or 3 games. Let me
Right.
get that real clear. It is not impacting that with me at all. I do see Dak showing ability to handle adversity and basically go out and make the kind of plays that can win important games for the Cowboys in the future. I see that.
Right.
There's not but one way to see it, and that's when you get in those critical situations. I've seen guys' knees buckle when they get in that spot. Dak's don't.
So this is an interesting situation, CC, because I think a lot of people thought he would have gotten paid and this would have been all behind him before the season started. Do you think his performance this season impacts your thoughts of him as a franchise quarterback?
No, they don't influence me. I've seen that he's improved. There's a number of moving parts around him, including the coordinator and the coach. But I just don't think we do quarterbacks really give them a fair shot as far as when are we supposed to make them a franchise quarterback? And that's if a guy is a top 10 pick, if he's a first-round pick, he's a franchise guy, and what window as far as years do we do that? Because right now when we draft them, oh, they're franchise quarterbacks. Oh, they're not franchise quarterbacks. But if we look at the most successful quarterbacks we have playing in today's game, and we just went by the judgment system that they were in when they started playing. And let's go from Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning,
Eli
Rivers,
Manning.
all these guys, and I'll even throw in Russell, Aaron Rodgers. Every time when they were introduced to the public as the franchise quarterback, look what all of them went through. Tom Brady, they had won a Super Bowl. Is he really a franchise quarterback? Or is he just in the car because of Belichick and the defense and all the things surrounding him? Phillip Rivers didn't get no blessing when he went to San Diego starting out. Aaron Rodgers, you saw what he went through waiting for Brett Favre. Russell Wilson is one of the few at a very, very young age. We said, you know something? He beat out a guy that they had spent a lot of money for in free agency. They had turned the reins over to him, even though it was a running team. So for me, Dak's done all the things I would want him to do. The money's going to be outrageous. When Kirk Cousins gets $28 million guaranteed, all of it guaranteed, and then Dak's quarterback class starts to come up, it's like, well, what about Goff? Well, what about Wentz? If we let the public keep judging these quarterbacks, we're not going to have any franchise quarterbacks. It takes a process. I just believe we're trying to put that label on quarterbacks before they're really ready. Drew Brees, look what he went through before he was the franchise quarterback, because this is his second franchise. Because the first franchise gave up on him. All right? Now, there was an injury, but they had a choice. And they chose to not believe in Drew Brees and his overall talent. So I would just be very, very careful. I think Dak has all the attributes you want. He's steady. He's improving as a passer. He's a great leader. People respect him. And in the biggest moments, Dak has played good football.
I think he has all the attributes
Here we
you
go.
want.
Here we go with the shit.
One questionable one, and it might be the most important one, which is how good of a thrower of the football is he really? Because I don't think people, I think what Jerry said at the end there, I agree with him on. Dak's knees don't buckle in the biggest spots. In fact, I think he gets better with his back up against the wall. I think he gets better when his team is trailing late in games. We've seen it. Hell, in the Packer game, they were down 31-3, so the defense changes a bit. But once they were down 31-3, he played solid football. The one interception he had there was when his receiver got mugged. It was almost assuredly.
It could have been like Baker Mayfield on Monday night when they got down and they had no chance of coming back. They had the opportunity.
Okay, enough of that shit. I'm sorry. Okay. If you listen to these guys, they will tell you that, you know, the Cowboys are shit. Oh man, 6 interceptions. But they admitted that should have been a pass interference, but it ended up being interception. Just like the hand where Amari Cooper said, listen, that was on me. It bounced off my hands. The Hail Mary. I know exactly what you're saying. You're saying you're just making excuses because Dak lost to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy freaking Bridgewater. You know what? Here's an interesting thing about Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater, you know, my man might not have been that wrong about Teddy Bridgewater. Because Teddy Bridgewater right now has 6 TDs and 1 interception. I don't know that I count the first game that he played because they were all in shell shock because Drew Brees went out. You lose Drew Brees, everybody goes to crap. And they end up losing to the Rams 9-27. If you take that game off, Teddy Bridgewater has 6 TDs and 2 interceptions in 3 games. In 3 games, 6 TDs and 2 interceptions. Now, I know the Cowboys lost in New Orleans to them 12-10. It happens. But this is the same team that went to play Russell Wilson and beat them in their house with Teddy Bridgewater. So to have this whole thing that Teddy Bridgewater, oh, you lost to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater ain't lost a game that he started this season. And that includes Seattle, Dallas, and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, who went to L.A. and blew them out. Okay? They blew out the Rams in L.A. I'm not saying they're a great team, but they did blow out the Rams in L.A. So if we go through Dak's numbers, you know, they talk about it's sad that his numbers are as poor as they are because, you know, to have 405 against the Giants, 4 TDs, and then drop down to 269 against the Redskins, 3 TDs, 1 interception, and then Miami only 246 passing yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. And then, of course, New Orleans, only 223 yards, 6.8 average, and an interception. And then, of course, Green Bay, he only threw 463 yards with 10.5 per average, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. So that does suck. It's not like some of the other quarterbacks that are out there. I understand the Cowboys are handicapped with Dak Prescott because when we look at some of the great franchise quarterbacks that we talk about, you know, Carson Wentz, when he played in New Orleans, he didn't do what Dak did. You know, Dak only 223 yards. Could not get it done. Carson Wentz, he completed 19 passes out of 33 for 156 yards. 5.57 completion percentage. 156 yards and 3 interceptions with a 31.9 QBR. And I know the Cowboys are told, or you're told that the Cowboys, they have a hard time winning when they play big teams. I get that. But as you put it, when you talk about a Carson Wentz, the Cowboys beat the defending Super Bowl champions with Carson Wentz twice last year in that big game, those big games. They beat New Orleans last year in a game that was very similar to what happened this year. It's a dogfight. We just happened to win 13-10 as opposed to losing 12-10. We were at our house. The first win, we were at their house. But here's the thing that's interesting, because I had an Eagle fan that said, you're just salty because we beat the Packers and you lost to them. Well, we did lose to them. We always lose to them. We always lose to them in AT&T. I hate to say it, but Aaron Rodgers, that's the house that Aaron Rodgers built. He owns the place. Before Dak, with Tony Romo even. But what if I told you that in the past 2 seasons, Carson Wentz has 2 victories over 2 winning teams? Green Bay, and last year the Colts, when the Colts were 1-4 before they went on a run and made the playoffs. That's it. Carson Wentz is 8-8 over the last 2 seasons. 8-8. And I know we lost to Teddy Bridgewater 12-10. But they got blown the F out 48-7. And as I look through Dak's numbers, you know what's funny? That 233 yards that Dak has, Carson Wentz only has, that's his worst all season. Do you realize Carson Wentz only has 2 games better than that out of his 5? Carson Wentz only has 2 games that he's thrown for more yards than Dak Prescott this whole season. And saying, of course, well, the Cowboys lost 2 in a row. Well, it's kind of funny that the Eagles are in the same boat we are. They lost 2 in a row as well. They lost to Atlanta. And I know they say Atlanta's a hard place to play, but not lately. Not lately. I think they're 10-7 there, slightly above 500. And that's the only victory that they have. And they have a coach who's on the hot seat. Their defense, mind you, is 26 in the NFL. And somehow, some way, you only put up 20 points against that defense. And when we talk about it, you also lost in your house to the Detroit Lions. So let me see if I got this straight. We lose to Green Bay at home, close, and we lose to New Orleans in New Orleans, close. Both those teams are 4-1. What's the Atlanta Falcons? 1-4. What's the Detroit Lions? 2-1. Is that what it is? So which of those are tougher matches? I ask you. Okay, all right. I know. He doesn't have the receivers. Guys are hurt. They make excuses for him. Okay. How about Baker Mayfield? Because Baker Mayfield, he was the hottie last year. Everybody's out there saying, I'd take Baker Mayfield over Dak Prescott. This season so far, 4 TDs, 8 interceptions, a 68 rating. Teddy Bridgewater has 2 more touchdowns than him. And really, in 2 less games. Shh. Teddy Bridgewater. So, I don't even need to go through those stats. How about Jared Goff? Jared Goff. I know Dak has 6 interceptions. Now, we can chalk off a couple of those. But would you believe Jared Goff has 7 to go with his 7 TDs? Dak Prescott actually has 4 more TDs than he does. Interesting. He's got an 83 QBR. Not real good. How about Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers on the season, 6 TDs, 1 interception. I'll give you, hey, and they're winning. They've kind of evolved and become kind of like the Cowboys were last year, where we were running the ball a little bit more and playing good defense. Aaron Rodgers really isn't carrying the team like they say a franchise quarterback does. If he did, they would end up being undefeated because he would have carried them to victory against the Eagles. They're right there on the goal line. Could not get it in. Had a chance to win the game. 4 opportunities. Could not get it in. That's the bad man. And then we get to Dak Prescott, who sucks. Dak Prescott, who, if you listen to the talking heads out there, we need to bench the guy. And I know some of my Dallas Cowboys out there that think that Dak is the worst quarterback out there. And I have to agree. He's only got 11 touchdown passes. 6 interceptions, we know. He's also got a rushing touchdown. He's thrown for 1,606 yards. That's 326 yards a game. A game. It's like 90 yards more a game than Carson Wentz is throwing. His his rating is 106. So as we go through and we look at teams and all this, you keep getting sold this bullshit from the talking heads that no quarterback out there ever has a bad game. No quarterback out there has interceptions. No quarterback loses games, that they always beat all of the competition. And it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of crap. Quarterbacks have good games, bad games, and things like that. And it's situational. If you want to lay Jason Witten fumbling, Dak's fault, you want to lay a terrible call that Zeke Elliott had a fumble on Dak Prescott, you want to lay a bad call of your wide receiver getting molested downfield and it ends up being an interception on Dak, you want to lay your head coach getting a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct as Aaron Rodgers cusses out the official and gets nothing? That's all Dak? Sorry. You win as a team, you lose as a team. And those numbers, oh, by the way, with Dink and Dunk Dak, who sucks, did you see him drop that pass to Zeke Elliott into triple coverage? That dime? You know the Dallas Cowboys have the most offense in the NFL. Number one, right? Total offense? You got that, right? Plays over 20 yards. Cowboys are only second to Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. Plays over 40 yards. Second only to Kansas City and Pat Mahomes. Give me a damn break with all of this stupid shit that the talking heads and you Dallas Cowboy Dak Prescott haters are keep saying. I'm sick and tired of the same stupid shit. But then again, haters are gonna hate. I'm Mark Holmes, and I keeps it real. I'll see you guys soon.